But yeah, this guy was in my ballet class in freshman year of high school. Like, I thought he was so fucking cute. I really did. I really did. And I thought he was cute today, like the other day when this happened. But he definitely looks older than he should and older than he was, really. And coincidentally, I hit him up through Facebook because I remember his name just barely, and I was able to look him up through Facebook and try to reconnect, but he hadn't been using his page since about a year ago. So I sent him a message and, basically just thanked him for being cordial. Even though I didn't think he was into me like that, I thought it was real chill that he, treated me like a human being, and that, he wasn't like super rude and, all this other shit, this extra shit that he didn't need to be. So, what's it called? The other situation that happened is, so I was on a train yesterday, and I was going to go run an errand, and then I was going to come back. And on the way back, I get on the train, and I've been hearing a lot lately about how no one will embarrass a black woman like a black woman, no one will embarrass a black woman like a black man. Bitch, let me tell you something. Does that seem to be true? Like, so I overhear this black man, and I'm so pissed that I stood up for him, because the first thing that I heard him say made me think of him as a pig and possibly a creep, a predator, and so I shouldn't have even defended him in the first place. But my black dart just went off. My blackie sense was tingling, and I had to say something. And I was offended by what I believed to be said as well. What was said, but it wasn't said by who I thought it was. So basically, he's hitting on these young girls, white girls. I mean, they couldn't have been more than like 18 years old, if that. And what do you call it? They look like they were just out of high school. And he's hitting on them, and he's like, trying to talk to them. He's trying to talk to them, but they're like continuing their conversation because they're like, they acted like he wasn't even there. Like, it was crazy. And I was like, okay, well, good on them that they, know how to ignore creeps. But what do you call it? I was just going to keep on going about my business, but then I hear him ask this white man, I'm assuming it's a white man. I haven't, seen this guy, I don't recall seeing anyone in particular behind me. So I didn't know who he was talking to. The only reason I thought he was a white man is because I knew the girls were white. And he asked the man, this black man who was hitting on them, asked the white man, if those were his daughters. And then, the guy was like, no. And he was like, they're really attractive. And he's like, you hear me? And he kept saying they're really attractive or whatever. That was the part that made me think he was a creep. So, because I'm just sitting here like, if you think that these are this guy's daughters, then you know that they're pretty young. So like, how old are you that you're sitting over here talking like this? But when I did turn around and see him, we did look pretty young. Like, he looked like he was in their age range. So, whatever. So it made sense. But anyway, what do you call it? He ends up, before I turn around, what made me turn around was him saying, I hear someone saying, oh, they don't want to be with a fucking nigger. And the ER was just so heavy on that bitch. I was just sitting here like, and I know we say the ER just as much as we say AH and A and whatever and whatnot, but like, and UH and whatever. But the way it hit and the circumstance that I just painted for you guys, you can see why I thought the white man said this. So I turned around reluctantly. I finally turned around and I was like, and I turned back around. And then I turned back around and I was like, did you just call him an N-word? And he was like, no. And he was like this older white man or whatever, maybe like, in his late 50s, early 60s. And the black dude immediately starts trying to explain to me why he called himself the N-word and why it was him. It was he who I heard. So him who I heard. So I'm just sitting here like, and I said, oh, so it was you. And I turned back around like with a puff of smoke, whatever. My hair looked a lot better than it looks right now. So, her flipped around back, to the front, whatever. And I put too much product in my hair just 2 seconds ago. But what do you call it? He then takes the opportunity to start hitting on me and to turn his sights on me. And he comes up to me and he's like trying to explain this to me again. I'm just like, I'm thinking to myself, I don't care. Like, I just start ignoring the dude because I'm just like, whatever. But, at this point, I'm just pissed because I'm like, I don't care. Like, bitch, you just called yourself an N-word. You embarrassed yourself by referring to yourself in that way because in front of some white people because they didn't fucking accept you. So is that what we do? We call ourselves N-words when white people don't accept us? And then you embarrass me because I'm over here trying to defend you and you're the one who said the shit. And this is part of the reason that nobody should be saying the word. And I really do understand that argument more now. But it gets worse because he tries to hit on me and he's, I'm ignoring him. I don't say anything to him because at this point I'm pissed. And I already thought he was a creep. Only reason I stepped in is because I was offended by, if somebody's going to sit here and say the N-word in front of me too. And then, the other thing, but then he starts talking about my wig and he says something about, oh, I ain't gonna buy you no new wig. You ain't gonna talk to me. You must think I'm young or something. I ain't gonna buy you a new wig or nothing, too, because just because you acting like that, you on punishment. You know what I said about nobody will embarrass you? Like, yeah. So I sit here and I'm trying to defend you from racism. You see that that's what I tried to do here. Whether I did it or not, because you ended up being the one to say the shit. Whether I did it or not is not the question. That's another story. But I sat here and I tried to do that for you. So I'm a genuine person. I'm a down chick. To at least that extent. But you're going to really sit here and embarrass me by talking shit about me when I just sat here and proved that I would try to defend you from random strangers being racist. The amount of embarrassment, and honestly, the embarrassment wasn't that bad on me. Like, I was a little embarrassed, but I was not really hung up on that. I was more so hung up on the fact that I literally just, like, how stupid of a situation this was. Like, I was just pissed that it was a stupid situation and that I was stupid enough to be in that situation. Because it was just like, I should have never said nothing to defend that motherfucker because half the time these motherfuckers won't defend us. And by us, I do mean Black women, and I also mean outside of that, Black transgender women and people in the Black LGBTQI community. But then on top of all of that, you're gonna do this? Like, you're literally the reason. Y'all do this all the time. You hit on us, and then all of a sudden we're the ugliest bitch walking.